Introduction to Self-Directed IRA. It is 12 o'clock on the dot Eastern Standard Time for those of you watching maybe in other areas of the country. Good morning. We're so glad to have you. My name is Cora Matzik. I'm the Business Development Manager with New View Trust in our sales department. And I'm really excited to go ahead and speak on this opportunity because this is a common question that we get all the time. What is self-direction and how do we get started with it? So we'll go ahead and get into it. Before we actually really get into the details of what self-direction is, I always like to preface, I am not a CPA, I'm not an attorney. I have no legal disclaimer for any of these, so we don't provide tax information, legal information, investment advice, nor do we sell investments. We only custody IRAs, ESAs, HSAs, 401ks that hold alternative investments chosen by the client. So we are just the custodian and we hold your funds. You tell us where you would like those funds directed. So ensure that you're doing your due diligence on possible deals, that you're getting advice from the professionals who know your unique financial situation. So that'd be the best route for you. So we'll go ahead and get started. So many times we get the question, where can we get access to these funds? So all of their IRAs combined value above $5 million. So 25% of those are held in non-traditional assets with it. So private lending, notes, deeds, things of that nature. So only 2% of those IRAs hold non-traditional assets. Self-direction allows you to invest in those non-traditional assets. What is a self-directed IRA? So self-directed IRA is just a marketing term. So across the board, no matter what custodian you have your funds stored with, it will still be a Roth, still be a traditional, whatever the choosing, again, whatever your financial advisor, CPA suggests that you have across the board, it's still going to fall into any of those categories. Self-directed is just a term used for you to be able to choose from the menu that custodian offers you. Different custodians, I always like to say, offer different menu choices, and you can self-direct within those menu choices allotted to you. So here at New View, we specialize in alternative assets, real estate, private lending are the common ones that my division typically sees. So self-directed IRAs explained. So we'll go a little bit more in depth here. So it is an IRA in which the IRA owner directs all of the investments in the account. Remember, we're just the custodian. You have the control on where you want those funds to go. There's no legal distinction between a self-directed IRA and any other IRA except with a truly self-directed IRA. You use the account to save money to retire comfortably, however you wish. The owner of the account chooses where you want those funds to be directed to. Some of the benefits of being able to self-direct would be diversifying your assets. Maybe you are an expert in the stock market. That's great. You can transfer some of your funds over and start private lending. You can start exploring other options, but we always suggest diversifying your assets. Maybe if one category is doing worse off than the other, you were able to create and compensate some with balance. So tax savings is the huge strategy that we're always discussing. If you're able to grow your account in a tax-free or tax-deferred environment, in the long run, we always say you're not going to want to pay taxes when you're no longer working. So if you can strategize and create an opportunity to grow your retirement account tax-free, that'd be the way to go. And investing in what you know best. Many of the times that we're out at these events, we're targeting people who, especially when we're discussing investing in real estate. So who would be our target audience? Realtors, people who are investing in real estate. Why would you be investing only in stocks or bonds when you can get more done with the area of expertise that you're familiar with? So again, I mentioned earlier a Roth, a traditional. These plans are still held within New View. So we have traditional, we have the Roth with your yearly contribution that you could do, but employer-based plans. So one specifically that we're always speaking on is a solo 401k, which a lot of people aren't really familiar with and they haven't heard much about it. So a solo 401k, you would be able to qualify for this solo if you meet two qualifying factors. The first one would be if you are self-employed, and then the second one would be if you have no W-2 employees. You would then qualify for a solo 401k. And the solos allow a large contribution. So if you're looking to, maybe you haven't had a retirement plan set up and you meet those two qualifying factors and you're looking to get something done quickly, you're probably going to want to look into the employer plans here, like solo or the SEPs. But one other thing too that isn't really discussed much is going to be the specialty plans that you can utilize and grow alongside any of these accounts as well. So health savings account, if you have a high deductible health savings plan, this is another one too that you could grow alongside, and you can utilize this account as well to invest in alternative assets. The education savings account is really good. I wish I knew about it when my son was younger. What's different about this one, it's used for educational purposes, where you do find a lot of education-based plans that are solely meant for your child to go to university or college. But what happens when you save for 18 years and your child decides that they don't want to actually go to university, and the money that you save for only applies to going to a university? What do you do with those funds then? The difference is that this education savings account can be utilized for any educational purposes. Private school tuition, maybe you need supplies like computers, things of that nature. You can utilize that money, and it doesn't necessarily just need to go to college tuition. So that's a really good one too that a lot of people are familiar with that we have. So, and then we're just going to go a little bit more in depth. So again, your Roth and traditional, the original one goes over the contribution limits, what you commonly see. So Roth, you pay the taxes when you are contributing, when you do your initial contribution. Traditional, you wouldn't pay the taxes on that initial contribution. You would pay it when it's time for you to start taking out those funds. So feel free to screenshot these. We will have more. We do have more information on this on our website, newviewtrust.com. You'd be able to look more in depth on these plans. And then to these employer plans. So I want to highlight the solo 401k as well too, because not only do you get the max contribution, but when you do set up an account with us, you then qualify for what is called checkbook control. So with checkbook control, what this essentially means is you would be able to create an LLC for your IRA, go to a bank and get an EIN number, go to the bank, open up a bank account and have these funds deposited into that bank account. And then you have direct access to those funds. So keep in mind too, if you do set up something like that with NewView, you would be responsible for your own record keeping because we cannot see those funds, but we do offer that as well too. So we can still be your record keeper if you choose to do so. And then again, more in depth on the specialty plan. So the Covered Out Education Savings Account, $2,000 contribution limit per year. Anyone can be a depositor, and distributions are tax and penalty free. So some of the restrictions on the IRAs. So people restrictions, transaction restrictions, and investment restrictions. So we'll get into depth of who you can do business with within your IRA. So I'll make sure to get you this sheet as well too, if that way, you know, basically I would say anyone in your immediate family, if you're looking for an investment property, they cannot reside in that property, things of that nature. If you're online, go ahead, feel free to screenshot this information. This is just a way for you to remember who would be considered a restricted party. So what can you invest in? So real estate, foreclosures, tax liens, single family, syndications. We do have a syndication division as well. And if you're not familiar with what a syndication is, it's a group of people who are looking to raise capital and invest in a larger business adventure. So we see apartment complexes a lot, and those could range anywhere from, an example would be $20 million, but you get a group of people together and own a percentage of that. Your IRA would own a percentage of that syndication deal. So commercial properties and unimproved land as well too. So private equities, trusts, LLCs, limited partnerships, joint ventures. So one thing too that you could do as well with your IRA is partner up with other IRAs, and maybe you do want to get into the syndication. So this would be an option for you as well too. Notes, secured, unsecured notes, mortgages. These are some other things that you'd be able to utilize your IRA for. So when being in the sales side, what we see a lot is, people open their account and, what happens next, or what are the steps here? So I always like to clearly lay out, it's not as overwhelming or intimidating as it might feel or seem like. You more than likely probably already have a 401k or an IRA account with another custodian. It's just a matter of filling out an application with your base information, your name, your date of birth, and we would also provide you with a form to be able to get your new account with NewView funded. So whether that be a rollover form would come from an employer-based account, so like your 401k, and we'd be able to transfer those funds over or roll over those funds to NewView, and your account would then be open, established, and funded. From there, right after you've opened your account, you would locate your investment. So again, earlier I mentioned doing your due diligence and finding the investment that you wanna pursue, or whether that be private lending or a real estate purchase. Do your due diligence. If you need to verify these possible business adventures with, financial planner or real estate attorney, I would always suggest that you do so. And once you've found your investment, it's just a matter of letting NewView know, hey, this is where I would like my funds directed. You would complete an investment form, and then we would direct those funds to that person, that property, whatever that might look like for your particular investment. So turnaround time for that, 24 to 48 hours for you to let us know where you want your funds directed to. So checkbook control is a little bit different. You would have direct access to it. You could write a check at that point, or debit card swipe. It's really makes a difference on what you're actually wanting to. What's your end game goal? What you're wanting to do. I do recognize, or I see all the time, that investments can be time urgent. So if you are sitting on a possible deal now, to get your account open, funded, and locating the investment, it could take anywhere from 5 to 7 business days. And if you have a time-sensitive investment property, you might want to already have the ball going. So I always would suggest at least getting your account open and established. And then once you want to get that funded over, it's one less step that you have to worry about when you're in that time-sensitive situation. So some really important things to keep in mind would be self-directed IRAs allow the account holder to choose your investment. So remember, I mentioned our menu is going to be more focused on alternative assets. We do offer a platform for crypto, things of that nature, which I would direct you to our website to be able to get more in-depth information on what we're offering. But it allows you to choose from our menu and where you want your funds directed to. Your IRA can own in real estate or loan money secured by real estate. We always suggest getting your private lending secured. If you're doing a note, make sure that they're secured. We always would suggest that. And IRAs are a great source of profit and capital. Be mindful of prohibited transaction rules. One thing as well too that you can't invest in would be life insurance or collectibles. So those are two investments that you would not be able to utilize if you are looking into starting a self-directed journey with your IRA. And IRAs and 401ks and other qualified plans can own any asset except collectibles and life insurance. So the steps are fairly simple. You would scan the QR code. You would speak to myself or one of the members on the team, filling out an application. It's very simple, and you would make your contribution from there, and you'd be able to start your journey of self-directing. One thing that we offer on here as well too, and please scan the QR code if you'd like to learn more information, is we're a part of Share the Love. So it's giving the gift of mobility. We're always out and about within different areas of being able to give the gift of mobility. So to find out more information on that, you can scan there. We offer these in-person classes, but also podcasts every week. Follow our socials for quick tidbits of information. Again, scan the QR code to get more specifics on New View Trust, the accounts that we offer, and different socials that we have as well too. So that concludes our presentation platform. Now we can open up the window for questions that we have. We'll take some questions from online. Maggie, what questions do we have?
Yeah, so our first question, how can individuals ensure that the investments they choose align with their overall retirement goals and risk tolerance?
So I would always suggest, the investments that you're choosing, again, since we're just the custodian, doing your research but also getting in touch with the people who know that side of it a little bit better. Whether if you're going to be investing in a real estate property, I would suggest getting with your CPA, real estate attorney, and verifying these and what their educated opinion on that would be. Okay. Is there any other ones?
Perfect. Next question. Are there any ongoing reporting requirements or paperwork that individuals need to handle when using a self-directed IRA?
I would say, so one of the big things is record keeping. We do have a record keeping option as well on NewView, but also you will get year-end tax forms from NewView. That's a part of that fee that we have, but you'll get your year-end tax forms, and then you'd be able to take those to your CPA and have all of that in order.
And then one last question. Can a self-directed IRA be converted into a different type of retirement account later on?
Yeah, so we hear this often. You could do a Roth conversion. That, again, I would suggest going back to your CPA on why and when you should be doing that. So, but we do offer that option as well too.
Awesome. And we actually have one more question. Can I contribute even if I live abroad?
Are you getting income, US-based income? So if you do live abroad and you're getting US-based income, yes, you'd be able to contribute. And then, did you have any questions?
Yes.
Yeah.
Can my husband also give to a Roth if I'm giving to a Roth? Like he could give his own portion, or is the 7,500 combined between the two of us?
It would be combined. So I would get with your CPA and see how you might want to be able to maneuver that around. Some clients have Roth husband, Roth wife, and then they contribute separately there. I've seen that.
Because if I'm gonna do for my business, my Roth, and then if he wanted to contribute to a Roth, he couldn't contribute as well.
Correct. It would
Okay.
be combined at
It
that
would
point.
be combined, okay. And then you can invest, like if, say, I'm not ready to use my money to buy real estate yet, can I put it in a CD or can I put it in something similar to that where it's accumulating interest?
You could, but at that point it wouldn't be, we don't offer the CD option, but you could diversify the asset. Maybe you would want some of it on a CD, maybe you would want it somewhere else, and then a little bit of proportion sitting in your self-directed IRA account. That might be an option for you as well too. That way when you are ready to direct those funds, you can move it back over and start that process.
Is there a way that when it's sitting in the IRA account that you can somehow make interest on it?
It's not an interest-bearing account. So you could start at one option too, if you don't wanna go something so grand initially, you could always start small. So, I started really small with lending for, private lending you could do, air conditioners, something small. We have a lot of people who are looking to purchase vehicles, whatever that might look like, but you don't have to go as grand with a real estate property if
Okay.
if you don't, if you kind of wanna sit and see how that works. So, that would be my what I commonly see people
Okay.
doing.
And then when I open up an account, if my accountant is the one that sends the money over, is that okay? Or does it need to be myself that sends it over?
Well, so if your accountant is doing, anything that's involved and they need to know your information, you might wanna add them as like an authorized user to be able for us to relay information or receive that information from your accountant. That's not uncommon for us to see. So it could be either or, like it could be yourself or your accountant or your husband, as long as those parties are listed.
Okay.
Great, is there any other questions that we might have from our online viewers? Perfect. Well, thank you so much for tuning in. We'll have our next class next Tuesday, but also look forward to our podcast as well too.